it is a combination of the hardware, software, and here some other algorithms here. So for the purpose of the implementation, either we have to use the hardware approach or we have to use the software approach. And for the purpose of the implementation, first of all, we have to develop the efficient algorithm. So our basic objective is to develop an efficient DSP algorithm in order to develop an efficient DSP system. And for that purpose, we have to target which type of the processor has to be utilized for a particular field of the application, and what is the hardware and the software architecture. And when we say how the DSP processor will interact to the real world, for that purpose, we have to go through the loading of a program on the DSP processor. And to load the program, we have to develop an algorithm. And for the hardware and in order to know the hardware and the software architecture, we have to go through here the algorithm as well as the architecture of the DSP processor, which has been targeted. After these arrangements and these steps, we have to decide what are the inputs on which our efficient DSP system will operate, and then we will get here the output, and we will analyze whether we are getting here the effective output or not. So here our objective is to design the efficient VLSI implementable DSP algorithm, and then we will implement this one either using the hardware approach or the software approach here. First, in order to develop the efficient DSP algorithm, first of all, we have to understand the application, field of the application that is related to the requirement or related to the need analysis. Then we will design the algorithm according to the requirement, and that algorithm will be converted in the form of the VLSI implementable algorithm. And naturally, that has to be converted in the form of the efficient VLSI implementable algorithm by using the different approaches like the pipelining, parallel processing, etc. here. Then it will be implemented either the hardware approach or the software approach. When we say the implementation of any algorithm, then implementation of the designed DSP system, it requires a team of the system, hardware, software, and the testing engineers. Here, the design of the system that satisfied all requirements have these steps, that is the understanding of the application problems, designing of the algorithm as per our requirement. Then we have to convert the designed algorithm in the VLSI implementable form, and we have to introduce the concept of the efficient efficient algorithm here by using the efficient VLSI implementable algorithm with the help of the pipelining, parallel processing, timing, retiming, folding, unfolding, like that, and then implementation will take place. Now, as we know, the VLSI design cycles are described by the different steps. That is, the first system specification is described, then architectural design takes place, and then functional behavior of the system is described and functional design takes place here. Logical design, then circuit design, and finally physical design takes place here. And after the designing, the fabrication is the next step, and then packaging and testing takes place here. So here, if we see these design cycles, then after these design cycles and after fabrication and packaging, for each and every steps, we have to simulate and analyze the expected result here. The simulation will take place in order to see whether the expected results are taking place at each and every steps or not here. So as we have discussed in the previous classes or in the previous semester also, that for the purpose of the efficient implementation, developing of the efficient DSP algorithm, Whatever are the requirements are given, we will apply the practical approaches in order to get the specifications. And then from the specification, after getting the specifications, next step is the decision of the system, whether we are interested for the designing of the analog system or the digital system. And then that particular system which has to be designed will be represented with the help of the mathematics. For example, if we are interested for the digital system, then this will be represented by this difference equation. That is a general representation of the digital signal processing algorithm. That is the yn is equal to minus summation of the k is equal to 1 to n b k y n minus k plus summation k is equal to 0 to m a k x n minus k. And here we will see that this system may be the LTI system or the adaptive system, depending upon the nature of the AKs and VKs that are the coefficients. If the AKs and VKs are constant with respect to time, then this type of the system or this type of the model is named as the LTI DSP model or the system, linear time invariant system. And if AKs and VKs are changing their values with respect to time or with time, then this type of the system is known as the adaptive system here. And here if we see the coefficients, then coefficients are nothing but they will represent here the components of the system here. LTI system, in which case the coefficients are constant with respect to time, are also known as the deterministic approach, and the adaptive one will be known as the stochastic approach here. After deciding the model, whether we are interested for the analog or the digital, and again whether we are interested for the LTI or the adaptive, we have to see what will be the nature of the here the of this system, whether that will be the moving average type or the autoregressive. Moving average, that is the FIR filter, and the average autoregressive, that is the IIR. And after this selection, we will select here the different designing methods or the algorithms which are known as the different designing approximations. For example, we have gone through the different approximation or the algorithms for the purpose of the designing of the FIR filter, like the windowing method using the different types of the windows, and in the case of the IIR, we have adopted the concept of the designing of the filter in analog domain, then we have converted it into the digital domain, and for that purpose we had used the Butterworth, Chebyshев 1, Chebyshef 2, elliptic. These are the methods which we have completed or which we have discussed in the previous semester. Now, whatever is the system has been designed by this approach. Now the enhancement of the design algorithm will take place again by using the pipeline in parallel processing, etc. here. Then we will write the code, and as we have discussed in the previous class that during the time of the writing of the code, for the optimal designing we have to use the mixed coding approach, because if we are interested for the efficient implementation, then naturally the assembly language is the better for the machine, but it is a tedious job to write and the code for in assembly language here. Then for the purpose of the optimal designing, we will use the mixed coding. It means when there is any do loop or such type of the instruction which requires more and more time, then that one will be written in the assembly code form, and the other sections will be written in the general coding user that is very easier to the user here, like the C or the C++, etc. Yeah. Next is whatever is the code that will be converted in the .out form or .win form, so that that can be downloaded to a given target, and for that purpose we can use any integrated development environment here. For example, we can use the CCS Code Composer Studio, in which whatever is the program, if it is written in the C code, then .c file is considered as the input, and then its output will be the dot as here the its dot C file will be given as the input to the compiler, C compiler of that particular type of the that is compatible to that particular processor, and then it will be converted into the .asm file, and .asm file will be considered as input to the assembler, and the output of the assembler is the .obj, and that is given in as one of the inputs to the linker, and we will get here the .out or the .win file that can be used for the purpose of the downloading to the hardware for the emulation or for the purpose of the simulation here. This is the basic approach that is used for the purpose of the designing of any system. Means first we have to, again we are coming to the previous slide here, that first of all we have to understand the problem, and then we have to design the algorithm depending upon the different situation and the circumstances, and different types of the selection will be utilized here. Then whatever is the algorithm, that will be converted into the VLSI implementable algorithm, and then it will be converted into the efficient VLSI implementable algorithm, and then it will be downloaded to the hardware or implemented either it is the software approach or the hardware approach. And for the purpose of the downloading or for the purpose of simulation, we are using here the Code Composer Studio as the integrated environment here. So this, now suppose we are interested in order to enhance the performance of any designed algorithm. For example, say we have designed the algorithm of the FIR filter, that is very simple algorithm, and say it is a 3-type FIR filter. When we say 3-type FIR filter, means 3 typing of the signal takes place here, that is this is first, second, and the third. So here the order will become the second, and this is represented mathematically as the yn is equal to axn plus bxn minus 1 plus cx minus xn minus 2, where the xn is the input and yn is the output here. Now this can be represented using the block diagram. This is the block diagram representation, and we can also represent graphically it using another approaches like the signal flow graph, data flow graph, and dependence graph. We know that the block diagram approach represents the architecture of the algorithm. Signal flow graph gives the information about the flow of the signals or the information. Data flow graph describes one iteration of any algorithm, and dependence graph describes the total algorithm here. And since we have derived this algorithm directly from the given equation, it is also known as the direct form structure of the system. Now if we are using here the data flow graphs, then same algorithm can be represented using the data flow graph, and after the representing it using the data flow graph, we have to decide what will be the critical path of that particular algorithm. And what is the critical path? Critical path is a path, longest path between the input and output if there is no delay between these two paths, or it is a longest path between the input and the first delay are the energy storing devices, or it is the longest path between any two consecutive energy storing devices, or this may be a longest path from this energy storing devices to the output. It means in order to decide the critical path, we will see here the different paths which are available from input to the first energy storing devices to the another energy storing devices, and then energy storing devices to the output. And also we will trace those paths which have no delays or no energy storing between the input and output. Among these paths, which one is the longest, that will be considered as the critical path. And during the time of the sampling, we will select the sampling time period must be at least equal to this critical path length. In order to enhance the performance of the system, or in order to enhance the performance of the algorithm, naturally the critical path length has to be reduced here. And in order to reduce the critical path length, we will use the different approaches like the pipelining, in which we will increase the clock speed or the sample speed by using the here the different energy sources in between the critical paths. Here are parallel processing that converts the single input single output system to the multiple input and multiple output system, and again it enhances the here the performance of the system. Retiming is the algorithm. It is used to change the locations of the delay elements. Delay elements means the energy storing elements. We can change the location and position of the energy storing elements in such a manner that the performance remains same, and hence the clock rate of the critical path may be reduced here, and hence the sampling time period will be reduced here, and we will get here the efficient algorithm. Now, folding is a technology or the algorithm that is used to create a new program describing more than one iteration of the original program here. That is, it is the different program than that of the previous one, and in this one we will get here the efficient performance of the system. Unfolding uses to reduce the number of the hardware functional units, means here the functional units will be reduced, and if the functional units are reduced, then naturally the performance will be better here. So these are the approaches which are used in order to enhance the performance of the system here. Now we are just going to describe one example in which we are trying to enhance the performance of any design algorithm. Suppose the requirement is given, and from that requirement we have derived any DSP system or the algorithm, that is the FIR filter here, and naturally it is the 3-type filter. And in this one there are the 2 delays here, that is the order is second, and naturally the equation will be the yn is equal to axn plus bxn minus 1 plus cxn minus 2 here. And now say the if the here if we say multiplier is nothing but this is the arrangement of the transistors in order to give the operation as per the requirement, that is the 2 signals will be multiplied here. And similarly the adders take place. If we have designed the adders and multipliers using a particular type of the transistor, and we know the propagation delay of that transistor, then we can calculate the total execution time of a particular adder or the multiplier here. Now suppose we have calculated the execution time of the multiplier as equal to the 10 nanosecond, and the execution time of an adder is 4 nanosecond. Then if we are interested in order to get the critical path of this circuit or of this algorithm, then the critical, in order to get the critical path, we will analyze the path between the input and output having no delay here. So this is the first path here. See, this is the path between the input and output having no delay, or between the input and the first delay are the energy storing devices, this one. Energy storing devices to the energy storing devices, or energy storing devices to the output here, the next one. Energy storing devices to the output, this one here. So if we see, then we will find among these paths which one is the longest. Naturally the first one from xn to the yn, having the 1 multiplier and the 2 adders. So here the critical path length will include the execution time of the 1 multiplier and the 2 adders here, and so the sampling time period must be greater or equal to this T critical value here. In order to get here the high speed, the length of the critical path can be reduced by pipelining and the parallel processing. Now say we are interested for the pipelining here, then in order to get the pipelining, as we have discussed, we will introduce the energy storing devices in between the critical paths here, between the input and output, or between the input and energy storing devices, or between the energy storing devices to the energy storing devices, or from energy storing devices to the output here. Now what will be the location and position, how this will be decided to introduce the energy storing device? For that purpose, we will introduce here the in order to introduce the delays or the energy storing devices, we will use the cut set algorithm. and the cut set algorithm will decide a position and the location where the delay elements has to be added. Now, after suppose after applying the cut set algorithm, we have decided this path here. That is, this is the position in where we have to use the energy storing devices. So if we use here the one delay, then delay will be cancelled to the delay here, and this is one delay here. Now we see, then now this longest path has been broken into two sections. The first one is first one has the multiplier and the adder also. This one has also the multiplier and the adder, and this has also the multiplier and the adder, because now we have to analyze the path between the energy storing devices to the output, or energy storing input to the energy storing devices, or energy storing devices to the energy storing devices. So among these paths, which one will be the longest, that will be considered as the critical path. So in this case, we will get here that the critical path is equal to the execution time of one multiplier plus execution time of one adder. So here we will see that after pipelining, we will get here the clock time period is that must be equal to the sample time period, and it must be greater or equal to the critical T critical, and T critical is nothing but the execution time of the one multiplier plus one adder here. Now in the first case, if we consider here the multiplication, that is the execution time of the multiplier is the 10 nanosecond, and execution time of the adder is 4 nanosecond. Then in the first one, it becomes the T critical becomes the 18 nanosecond, but in this case it becomes the 14 nanoseconds. It means there is improvement of the 4 nanosecond after applying the pipelining here. One more concept after applying the pipelining is known as the fine grain pipelining. In fine grain pipelining, what we will do, that whatever is the multiplier itself, multiplier is nothing but this is the arrangement of the transistors. Now this circuit, including the different type of the transistors, will be broken into two sections using the cut set algorithm, that is by introducing the energy storing devices, and then we will again analyze the critical path. Now suppose this multiplier has been broken into two sections, one having the 2 unit time, and the second one had the 6 unit time, and the second one has the 4 unit time. So in this case, if it has been broken into the 4 nanosecond and 6 nanoseconds, so the longest path will have the 6 nanoseconds plus 2 nanoseconds, that is the 8 nanosecond T critical path. Again, there is an improvement of the 6 nanosecond in this case here. That is the fine grain pipelining. In the fine grain pipelining, we are breaking here the multiplier into two sections, M1 and the M2. In parallel processing, what is the process of the parallel processing? Naturally, the single input, single output system is converted into the multiple input and the multiple output system. So here the duplicate the hardware without reducing the critical path, means critical path will remain same, and hence there will be no increase in the delay devices. For parallel processing, it means the clock time period will not be equal to the sampling time period, because here the sampling time period will become 1 by L times of the critical time period, where L is the level of the parallel processing that is the taking place here. For example, say again we consider here the this is the broadcast architecture. If we see the previous one here, see this is also the 3-type filter, and now if we apply here the in order to get the broadcast architecture, if we change the rows by the column and column by the rows, and we will change this direction of the input and output, then we will get a new circuit, and this circuit is known as the broadcast circuit, the data broadcast circuit here. That is, there is no delay in this line here, means the data will be available to all the branches at the same time. So this will be known as the data broadcast architecture here. Now, in order to develop the parallel architecture or the parallel circuit, we will write the equation of three level parallel processing here. Previously it was yk, so the k will be replaced by the 3k, so it will become the y3k ax3k plus bx3k minus 1, that is the 3k minus 1, and then cx3k minus 2. And in the next step, it will be 3k plus 1. In the next cycle, we will get this equation, and for the y3k plus 2, we will get this equation here. Now, as per this equation, these three will be the output here, and the inputs will be the x3k, x3k plus 1, x3k plus 2 here. Now see the architecture here, how we are getting the input and output relations. Here the inputs are the x3k, x3k plus 1 and x3k plus 2, and outputs are the y3k, y3k plus 1 and y3k plus 2. How we are getting the y3k? From the first equation, we have developed the circuit diagram. From this has been developed from the second equation. This has been developed by the third equation. So this single input, single output architecture has been converted into the multiple input, multiple output architecture. And here the level of the parallel processing is the 3, means the 3 samples will be processed simultaneously here in place of the processing of one sample. Retiming is transforming technique used to change the location of the delay elements, as we have discussed, and since it is not in your syllabus, so we are just skipping this one here. The one more approach is, in this case, we have enhanced the performance of the algorithm. The second approach is we can enhance the performance of our execution unit, like the addition and the multiplication processing can be made faster here. For that purpose, we can use the new number system. In place of using the traditional number system, now we can use a new number system. For example, if we use in the traditional number system, what happens? And the carry generation takes place. Now, why the carry is generated? Because its nature is additive. There are the two levels, one is the 0 and the second one is the 1. Yes, both are positive here. So there is a nature to generate the carry, and that carry will be propagated. And since the last propagation of the carry from the LSB to MSB, the addition or the multiplication will take place here. So this propagation, this carry generation and propagation will make the devices very slow. So our approach is to minimize this generation and propagation of the carry. For that purpose, we can assume a new number system in which carry generation is terminated. For example, if we are using the -1, 0 and 1 as a number of the bits in place of the 0 and 1, then we can generate a same number 8 or 7. For example, 7 is represented as 4 plus 2 plus 1, and now this can be written as the 8 minus 1, 9 minus 2, 10 minus 3, like that. So if there is any chance to generate the carry, then that chance will be terminated by this speciality of the number. And since the carry generation is not taking place, so there is no meaning of the carry propagation. Hence, this type of the execution unit, the adder or the multiplier, will be very faster in comparison with the previous one. But the drawback is that in this type of the number system, we have to use the 2 bits in order to code -1, 0 or 1. So we will also move to the another approach that is known as the hybridization, and this is known as the hybrid sign digit, and we can use that number system. This is the second one here. So here, after designing the suitable algorithm, now we will develop, we will download the concept or algorithm on a given target, and then we will test it. And for the purpose of the downloading, there is a need of the integrated development environment. And we have discussed that this, in this case, that is the TMS 320C6713, we use the here the CCS Code Composer Studio, which accepts the .c as the input, and this is converted by the compiler to the .sm. It is considered as input to the assembler, and the assembler's output is the .obj, that is the input to the linker, and we will get here the dot output that is utilized by the simulator, emulator, or the targeted hardware. So next concept is the implementation. For the purpose of the implementation, we have to use the number system. So in the next lecture, we will discuss how the different number systems are used for the purpose of the implementation. And for that purpose, we will use the fixed point number representation and the floating point number representation. And we will also study their effect, means what is the dynamic range, what is the range, and what is the impact of the different type of the number representation. So this is about the today's discussion, and if you people have any query, then please ask for it. Any query, please? So we are just stop.